What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for you. Today is Flex Friday, March 10th, 2023. Flex Friday over on Prize Picks. As always, I hope this video finds you all doing well and in good spirits. We still have 6 games in the NBA to talk about. And in today's final look video, we'll be recapping our picks from yesterday, going over some updated injury news, and then I'll be sharing with you a couple of player props that I really like for today's slate, and I'll share with you a few reasons why I like each of them. So without further delay, let's jump right into that recap and discuss our picks from yesterday. Taking a look at our 4 picks from yesterday, went 2-2 on the day, so 50%. Not too bad. Listen, I'm usually the one that is going to say, oh, that's not good, or it's not good enough. It could be better. But you know what? This morning, I decided that I'm going to take a much more positive approach to all the results. And you know what? 2-2 on the day is really good. 50% is really good, and it's a hell of a lot better than 0%. So I'm loving 50% on the day yesterday. Livers and Lopez both came through for us and cleared their props. However, we experienced a couple of hiccups in the later game with both DiVincenzo and Mitchell Robinson failing to hit their props. Now, the Robinson prop was pretty puzzling because he sat out half the third quarter and then sat out the entire fourth quarter with foul trouble. He had 4 fouls going into the fourth, but in a close game like that, I don't see why you wouldn't have him on the floor. So he finished the game with 20 fantasy points, leaving us short by 6. Isaiah Hartenstein had 5 fouls, picked up 5 fouls throughout that game, and Tom Thibodeau just rolled with Hartenstein yesterday and left Mitchell Robinson on the bench. So that was a little disappointing to watch, but other than that, I felt real good about the Lopez play and the Isaiah Livers play. I feel really good about the Livers play just because it was a little bit under the radar type of play, and it feels good when the research actually works out for you and you project a certain amount of minutes for a player to be played, and it works out. So I had a big smile on my face watching Isaiah Livers get us 13 points yesterday. So 2-2 on the day. I'll take it. Lovely results. And then today we'll look to go 3-0 today. So without more jibber jabber for me, let's go ahead and jump into some updated injury news, and then we'll talk about some player props. So taking a look at the injury report for Friday, not a lot of names on this list. Yesterday looked like a damn novel with all the names on that list. However, much shorter list, which is great. I hope it stays that way. So right now, a couple of players questionable: Anthony Simons, Vlado Konkar. And then in terms of being probable, we got Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Jeremy Sohan, Romeo Langford, Doug McDermott, Will Barton, and then Kevin Love. I'm personally not interested in playing any Bam Adebayo props, but I will say that when Kevin Love is in the lineup, we've seen Love take some rebounds away from Bam Adebayo and score. Scoring also cuts into Bam Adebayo's production. So just keep your eye out for that news if you are considering playing Bam. Dig into that a little bit and check out, what that looks like when Kevin Love is in the lineup versus when he's not in the lineup. All right, heading on over to Prize Picks. Let's start talking about some player props, and I have my first player prop that I want to go over. I feel like we can go in a few different directions with this one, and we're going to be talking about Jimmy Butler for the Miami Heat, and I'm going to share with you my 3 favorite player props for Jimmy Butler today. I'll rank them in order from most confident, the one I like the most, to least confident, and the one I like the least, but all 3 of them, in my opinion, are definitely in play. So first, let's talk a little bit about Jimmy Butler's points today. So we got him at 21.5, and I like the over here. I like the more on Jimmy Butler's points. Heading on over to StatMuse, just pulling up Jimmy Butler's game log versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, and really the only games I'm trying to pay attention to are the ones with him in Miami. And then from there, really just looking at the last 4. But looking at the last 2 games these teams have met in 2023, you got 1 game played back in late last season in March. and then you had one game played late season in 2021. So just looking at those first 4 games on the page, Jimmy Butler is averaging 32 minutes, 22.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, 4.75 assists, and 2.5 steals. The steals is what really jumps out to me. And so in terms of PRA, that averages out to 30.75 PRA, and then in terms of fantasy points, it rounds out to 39.8 fantasy points. Now, if you just want to get a little bit more specific and say, focus on the last 3 games here, the numbers are even better. So over those 3 games, Jimmy Butler is averaging 25 points, 3.3 rebounds, 5 assists, 3.6 steals and blocks, and a total of 5 turnovers. So that equals 33 PRA per contest and 45 fantasy points in each of those games. So as we head on over to props.cash, let's check out Jimmy Butler over the last 10 games. We just did some simple math and see that Jimmy Butler is scoring well over 21 points per contest over his last 4 contests versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Over his last 10, he's scoring 22.9 points. Over his last 5, 23.6, but specifically against Cleveland this season, over 25 points. 23 in his first contest, 28 in his last contest. Both would get it done for his point prop today. Scrolling down a little further, we could take a look at the minutes played versus Cleveland, basically giving you 35 minutes in each game, and he's putting up roughly 15 shot attempts in each game. Let's unfilter this and just look at the totals for the last 10 games, not Cleveland specific. So minutes in those games, looks like he's just playing a little bit more versus Cleveland, still giving you over 30 minutes in the other contests. Then in terms of his field goals taken, there are some games in there where he's taken less than 10, right at 10. There's one with 11, but games versus Cleveland, this one he shot 14 times, and then the other game was played well past the last 10 games, so that's not going to be on the screen. That game was played back in January, but still 16 shot attempts in that game, even taking some threes. So whatever helps Jimmy Butler get it done. Free throws as well. Let's take a look at free throws. Dang, oh my gosh, I did not realize that he got sent to the line 15 times in each of those games. That's crazy. Let's head on over to Prizepicks and just take a look at what's on the board for him. So we know that his points are on the board, and that's going to be my favorite prop for Jimmy Butler today, over 21.5 points. My second favorite prop on the board for Jimmy Butler is going to be his PRA because of what he's averaging over the last 3 and 4 games. Now, the numbers look a lot better when you look at the last 3 games because he's giving you roughly 33 PRA, and I know that 33 is less than 33.5. But going back on over to props.cash, we can see that this average here reflects these last 2 games. 38 in his last meeting, 29 in his first meeting. Then over his last 10 games, you can see that when he clears it by a lot, and when he doesn't clear it, it doesn't look as good. I just feel Jimmy Butler is a player that will step up in big games like this, and he's just the kind of guy that is going to, want the ball in his hands, try to do as much as he possibly can, whether it's on the defensive end or on the offensive end. So I just expect Jimmy Butler to play a lot of minutes today. I expect him to do a lot on the court. So even though his average of 33 is less than 30, I still like the over on his PRA. And then my third favorite prop, but it's not on the board, it's going to be his fantasy points. And we'll wait and see what those look like, because the upside with Jimmy Butler versus Cleveland with his blocks and steals is crazy. Averaging 3.6 blocks and steals over his last 3 games versus Cleveland. I mean, that's like 10 points extra right there. So it's possible that Jimmy Butler may not hit his PRA, but hits his fantasy just because of the blocks and steals. We'll wait and see what that prop looks like. But if we can get that point prop anywhere between 35.5 to 37.5, I think, or maybe 38.5, 37 might be a little too low. 35 is way low for a fantasy score, but under 40. Jimmy Butler fantasy points under 40. I think that's a good value. So I'll personally be looking out for that player prop. So those are the 3 props that I like for Jimmy Butler today. Saw his free throw attempts versus Cleveland, 15 in each game. This might be an area you can look into. I haven't done a ton of research into his free throws, but I'll leave that up to you if you want to dig into that one. But that's also in play, just as you know, free throws contribute to his total points on the game. So that might be a nice way to correlate his total points on the day. All right, let's get into prop number 2. Prop number 2 is actually going to be from the same game, and it's going to be Jared Allen over his 23.5 PRA. Now, I was kind of torn between Jared Allen and Evan Mobley for PRA. But number 1, Evan Mobley's PRA is not on the board. And number 2, when I check everything out over on props.cash, I believe Evan Mobley's PRA is a little bit higher. So let's just pull up his 10-game log real quick and check out Jared Allen's PRA numbers. Now versus Miami specifically this season, it looks a lot worse than it really is because of the one big dud of a game he had at the beginning of the year. A lot has changed. A lot has gone down since then. Over his last 2 meetings, you can see he's eclipsed that 23.5 by a lot. So 25 in his second meeting, and then 29 PRA in his third meeting. Pulling up Jared Allen's game log versus the Miami Heat, we can see what those last 2 games look like. So 15, 12, and 2 definitely gets it done. 14 and 11, that definitely gets it done. Then it looks a little in that third game where he only gave you 16 PRA. But then in his it looks like the second meeting of 2021, that 2021-2022 season, Jared Allen gave you 28 PRA. And then in that first meeting 2 days prior to that, he gave you 31 PRA. So Jared Allen has a strong history versus the Miami Heat. And then just looking at the 10-game log, not Miami Heat specific, 5 out of his last 10 games. And this just looks really good for Jared Allen. And it looked like the last time these 2 teams played, that was his get right game, because he had been going through a bit of a slump, 3-game slump, where he was just not getting it done in terms of PRA. I'm looking for him to repeat his performance. Doesn't have to get us 29 PRA. We just need 24 PRA from him. And I think all the statistics and all the game history shows that this can happen for us today. So that's my second favorite prop on the board today, over 23.5 PRA for Jared Allen. And for our final prop on the day, we're going to go to the late game tonight. We're going to travel out to Los Angeles and take a look at Pascal Siakam. And I like the assist prop we have going on for Pascal Siakam over on Prizepicks, set at 5 right now. And I like the over. I like the more here. Now, at first, I was really looking at his points, and then I was looking at his, rebounds, just looking at everything for Pascal Siakam, and the numbers versus the Lakers really stood out to me. But in digging through the game log, I realized that Anthony Davis did not play in that game versus Toronto. He has not faced Toronto this season. So a lot of those numbers, I question on whether or not they'd be that high if Anthony Davis was in a lineup. We'll find out tonight. But the one prop that did stand out to me that I feel is like Anthony Davis proof is the assist prop, because Anthony Davis obviously is a presence in the paint. And so if that prohibits Pascal Siakam from scoring, then he becomes more of a facilitator. And it's not something that he has to do. It's something that he typically does. It's something that he usually does. So over his last 10 games, you can see he's giving you right at 5 assists. And actually, props.cash has this at 5.5, and it's 5. So you can see that he's hooked it in 4 contests out of those 10 contests. But he's gone over in 4 out of the other 4 out of the 10 and gone under 2 out of the 10. So a little bit of a mix there. So he has the floor of 5 and he has the upside of 7. And that's why I like this. So it's possible that we see him pass the ball more. We saw him pass the ball a fair amount versus the Clippers, but we could see him do the same, if not more, versus the Los Angeles Lakers. So I like this prop for Pascal Siakam. Another one that I was interested in that I'm still iffy about. Maybe you can help me out. Maybe you can leave a comment whether or not you like this prop. But the over on his rebounds and assists. We already like his assists, but the rebounds I'm scratching my head with the rebounds just because, Anthony Davis has a lot to do with that. So every rebound that Anthony Davis grabs is one less rebound that Siakam grabs. So that was kind of my thought process on that one, but I still like the over. I like the odds on the over here, and I just like this game log because even in the games that he's not giving you 12 rebounds and assists, he's giving you double digits. So his floor is super high with this pick. So that's going to be pick number 3. So let's quickly recap the 3 plays that we talked about today. And we'll start with Jimmy Butler liking the over on his points. My second favorite prop for Butler is the over on his PRA. And then there's his fantasy score right there. So I like the fantasy score as well. We said if we can get it under 40, we like it. So those are my 3 favorite player props for Jimmy Butler in that order. Second favorite prop is Jared Allen over his PRA 23.5. And final prop of the day, Pascal Siakam over 5 assists versus the Los Angeles Lakers. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's final look video for this Flex Friday, March 10th, 2023. Do me a favor and leave me a comment below letting me know who you have your eyes on the board. Who are you rolling with today and locking into your slips? Also, let me know what you think about these 3 plays that we talked about today. Do you like them, love them, hate them, or do you want to leave them alone? Either way, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for all the support, the likes, the subs, the comments. It truly means a lot. And I say this in every video, but it really does help this little channel get a bit bigger every single day. When I dig into the analytics and see all the stats, it's just it's beautiful how the channel is starting to grow. So thank you so much for all the support. And yeah, until tomorrow's final look video, I might do an early look and research video tomorrow, but definitely we'll be posting 1 video tomorrow for sure. So if not 2, then it'll be the final look video tomorrow. Until that video, Chavez is